Hi everybody! If you're getting more serious about your RC car or truck hobby, you're probably beginning to realize that the little collection of tools that came with your ready-to-run vehicles just isn't cutting it anymore. I've got my tool collection here behind me. I'm going to walk you through what I have. This isn't going to be a video about how to use each and every tool. That would take far too much time. Really, I'm just going to maybe point out one or two uses of each tool, but not even for every tool because some of them are pretty self-explanatory. So let's take a look. The collection of tools that I've assembled here should address about 99% of all your hobby needs, assuming you're working with cars that are 8th scale or smaller. If you're like most people, you probably got into the hobby with some Traxxas or Arrma cars that came with their own little tool collection, and you don't want to lose those tools. They're very useful. They could do a lot of things for you, but you'll find that your life will be a lot easier if you collect some of these other tools. Starting with your own little set of handheld hex drivers, you'll need a 1.5, a 2.0, and a 2.5 millimeter. Aside from that, you'll want to get an electric driver, and then you'll also want some metric hexes that will fit into that driver. Again, same size as before, 1.5, 2, and 2.5. A set of small hexes. Really, you want hexes that have like a 4.5 millimeter on up to about a 12 millimeter. This is a pretty good collection here. A magnetic tray makes life way easier. It keeps all your parts safe and organized, keeps them from rolling and falling onto the floor. This is a little magnetic grabber. Sometimes the screws fall out and get stuck between some parts within the chassis, and this really helps extract those. Now all this stuff, this is really like a collection of things that all work together. This is when you're getting into wire repair, electronic work with the motor, the ESC and whatnot. The soldering iron is used to bond wires together with the help of the solder. The flux is a liquid that basically helps the solder bond with the wires a bit better. You'll need to cut the wires using some cutters, and some wire strippers make stripping the insulation off the wires a whole lot easier than trying to do it with like a little razor blade. You'll want a small little box of shrink wrap tubing to insulate your exposed wires, and you could get this stuff to shrink onto the wires by using like a little Bic lighter or a heat gun or even a hair dryer if you have it. Sometimes screws get stuck or the ends get stripped out, so having a means to extract them using some Speed Out by Cobalt screw extractors can really save you a lot of time and trouble. Just make sure the set is small enough to fit into the small little screw heads that typically come with the RC cars. You want a little collection of drill bits, and I recommend trying to find one that has this kind of end to it, because then it will fit into your electric driver. Of course, you'll need a little razor blade. This little pick is useful for picking dirt out of the screw heads. You could also use a thumbtack. That would work just as fine and be a lot cheaper. Make sure you have a flashlight in your toolbox, a small hammer, some needle nose pliers, a small flathead screwdriver. Now, there really is rarely ever any sort of like Phillips head screws or even flathead screws on these RC cars and trucks today, but having a flathead screwdriver is really useful for kind of like prying things apart. A small pair of vice grips for clamping onto things when you need to. A small pair of curved scissors. These are specifically for cutting plastic Lexan bodies. So if you're getting into painting and cutting out your own bodies, you need these curved scissors to make all these intricate cuts. This here is not so much, I guess it's a tool, but it's a tool that measures heat. So if you want to measure the temperature of your motor, you just aim the laser at the component that you're trying to get the temperature for, and it'll tell you the temperature in either Fahrenheit or Celsius. Now, this motor is 70 degrees because it has not been run. And by the way, these are accurate within like 5 or 10 degrees. They're not very useful in measuring your body temperature. When I measure my body temperature with this, I get about 90 degrees, which would mean that I'm like dead or close to dead. But they're fine for measuring the temperature of things like electrical components where it's okay to be off by 5 or 10 degrees. Now finally, having a multimeter. This is a tool that you could use to measure the how charged your battery is. In this case, I'm just setting it to 20 volts, and I know that when this battery is charged, it should read about 8.4 volts. So let's see what I get here. I'm about at 8.16, so it's almost completely charged. I mean, it'd be good enough to use. It's almost completely charged. All right, so there you have it. That's my collection of tools that serves about 99% of all my hobby needs. Altogether, this whole collection of tools, if you were to buy it piece by piece, would probably cost about $200, maybe somewhere like $200 to $225. You don't need to buy everything all at once. You know, do it the way I did it. Wait till something goes wrong and then buy the tools that you need. Okay, well, if you found that this video was helpful, if you learned anything new, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out all my other cool content about hobbies here on Go Hobby.